Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's video. I'm joined by Anu. Hello Anu, how are you?
Hi Aiden, how you doing?
Yeah, very good, very good. Thanks for joining the call. So those of you who don't know who Anu is, Anu's been selling on Amazon for over a year now?
Yes.
Over a year. So I thought it would be good to dive into Anu's story, talk about the successes that she's had, the failures that she's had, basically what her first year in business was like, and then obviously where we're up to now. So but before we dive into that, it'd be good just to go back a little bit on your story. So can you just let us all know what you did before you started selling on Amazon? So what was your life like before Amazon? And you can start as early as you want or as late as you want.
Right. So let's talk about a bit about me. So yeah, I'm from Leeds. You can get a bit of the Yorkshire accent and a bit of Nigerian accent coming through.
Unique
Obviously,
accent, yeah.
very unique, right? So yeah, I obviously graduated as a lawyer, and trained as an immigration lawyer, and I was obviously working, and also criminal lawyer actually. Worked a bit with Slater and Gordon, and I got married, had kids, and it was just, I realized 95 wasn't me. Every time I'm at work, I'm just frustrated. When I talk about frustrated, I'm talking about really like my life should be out there. Where am I stuck behind the desk, typing case file, typing pre-court action plans? Like, I'm like, why am I doing this? Anyway, when I had my daughter, which was my second baby, that was the cue for me to leave legal aspects. Obviously, my parents and my family weren't happy about it, but I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I needed that freedom. So when I had my daughter, she's going to be 5 in September. A friend brought the idea of Amazon then, and I was on £500 maternity leave, statutory pay. So I invested that in Amazon, but little did I know that you needed more funds to make sure that your Amazon do succeed. Ran out of money because obviously I've got to buy nappies and everything. I ran out of money and I shut the Amazon account down in Easter, the following Easter, which is like 4 months after. The account was there. Then I went into other businesses, which was obviously wedding venues and things and property, which was a success until COVID-19. Because my strategy was mainly rent to SA, whereby we rent property and then we turn it into service accommodation. And because of service accommodation not running during COVID, we had to shut it down. We lost 45 grand in a day because Booking.com and Airbnb, literally Airbnb and Booking.com refunded every customer back their money, and we had no money to pay for rents, to pay for mortgages, to pay for our staff. I felt like I was going to die that day. I literally had an instant COVID. Literally, I called my parent. I was like, I'm about to die. And it was just the fact that I saw all that money going out of our accounts and being refunded.
I mean, you laugh about it now, but that must have been hell.
That was really awful. Touchwood, never in my life have I ever sought for help from the government. When I talk about help from the government, universal credit or even benefit. I grew up in this country, but I've never, ever lived on benefit whatsoever. For the first time, I picked up the phone and I was in tears because I didn't know how I'm going to feed my kids the following day, because I knew that all these payments are going to come out, that a direct debit coming now. And my husband wasn't working then. We both solely relied on the property. So that was like a big breakthrough for us to think, right, we need multiple streams of income. But we were able to pick ourselves up from the pieces. And I remember I just slept that day and I was recovering from COVID. And I remember, wait a minute, I have an Amazon account. And I revived my Amazon account, went to my nearest shop and started an array. And that was the turning point for us. Started array, and that was in the peak of Q4 in October. All I needed to do was obviously log in back to my Amazon account, reached out to Solicitor, did a bit of on-gating. I still had the knowledge, because once you get that knowledge from Amazon, it never leaves you. So I knew the old sellers to reach out to on-gate. I knew I needed to on-gate again, because once your account has been dormant, then you need to re-on-gate again. So I on-gated everything all over again, and that was it. 2020 October was the turning point for me.
Wow. So do you mind sharing roughly the sort of numbers that you've done up till now since you started?
Right.
Is it 7 figures or 6 figures or high 6 figures?
Well, when we got to the end of the end of December last year, this is 2021, we were already on 700 grand turnover and I'd say 40% profit when I checked it. And this is all about just consistency. Amazon will drive you up the wall, but you need to be consistent with what you're doing, willing to learn more and willing to do more. So it's all about consistency. By the end of December 2021, we've done well over 700 grand.
Wow, wow. So loads of people start selling on Amazon, and I started like 3 years ago, but my growth hasn't been crazy, but it hasn't been really slow. It's just been, sort of my story, if you like. Everyone's story is different. How did you go like that when most people just go like that? Just slowly get your growth was like substantial, really fast. How did you do that? Like, how did you suddenly just was it? Did you invest loads of money into it? Did you have the right resources? Was it mentors? Like, what was the combination for your success, if you like?
I think first, one thing I'm going to say now is whatever you do, you need to learn to obviously what I call transferable skills.
Mm.
Aiden, you're into property, and if you know that one of the biggest things they teach us in property is learning how to use finance and learning how to seek and make use of other people's money.
Right.
I brought the knowledge I had in property into Amazon, whereby using other people's finances to raise funds and to be able to do the business. Every property guru out there would never use their money to buy property. So if you can think about property, the idea of that kind of strategy, you'll be able to move forward in Amazon, whereby I was able to leverage other people's finances. So I'll strike a deal with you and say, right, if you give me X amount of money in X, I'm sure about the products I'm putting my money into it. And even if I'm not sure about that product, I'll make sure that even if I get the cogs out from Amazon, I'll be able to pay my investor back. Then I can deal with the outcome with Amazon, whereby I still have goods in Amazon that will give me back my profit at the end of the day. So I was able to leverage other people's funds to run my Amazon business. Also, one thing I also remember doing was I never stopped learning. Amazon is about learning. We were learning. We're in the same group. And one thing that made you stand out, Ada, was the fact that you were always asking questions. I know I don't have to, I'm very quiet on the group, but I knew that you're destined for greatness, Aiden, because you don't keep quiet at all. And that's one thing we learn. I learned from your question. You ask questions of something I'm going through as well. And that was another biggest thing to my growth. And when you constantly apply whatever being taught by your mentor, by your study group, by your business group, you will grow no matter what. And not following, another biggest thing for us that we've learned, well, I've learned, and that's really helped me, is don't follow the crowd. I noticed that whenever I follow the crowd is a big detriment, because I've shared with you, Aidens, of like products that I followed the crowd on, and I literally lost a lot of money through that, i.e. during Christmas, selling seasonal products. We've lost a lot of money. We're not talking about 5-10 grand. I'm talking about 30-40 grand worth of products that's not being sold, that just at the warehouse. And this is because we followed the product. But product that we did very well in were product that we created ourselves, a niche area that we've gone into together, and we've actually distinct ourselves to make ourselves different. We sold those products very well. So imagine if I put that extra 30 grand that I've lost out on the product that I still yet to sell, or that I just sat in my warehouse now, into the product that I've created, the niche area I've created, I would have been talking about 8 figures right now. But I followed the crowd thinking that is the norm. Everyone is selling this. Let me go into it. And it did burn everybody out. It didn't only burn me out. We've got the people that had to recall or even destroy over 700 units of those. So yeah, that's where we are right now. Just stand out. Do something different from what everybody's doing. Think outside of the box, and that would actually make your growth, accelerate your growth even quicker.
So you had a niche, And then, because I'm still trying to get over the growth, like I get the investment's one thing,
Yeah.
but for me, for example, like this isn't a brag, it's just the truth. I've got an amount of money in my business that I could accelerate it to a much bigger stage, but
Yeah.
I haven't right now got enough time or resources currently to create enough of my own listings. We both create our own listings.
Yeah.
I haven't got enough time to create enough listings to actually use up that investment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm doing it as fast as I can. So what other resources did you have to create enough listings? Did you create them all yourself? Because that must have been non-stop work, hours and hours and hours.
No, I do have a VA that I've been working with since the beginning of obviously since I realized that I knew where I wanted by January, and I reached out to everyone would know him in our community, Thomas Parkinson. He trained up a VA for myself, but obviously those VAs are being trained to just source normal RA and OA for you. But listen, when you're growing, you can't grow alone. You've got to carry everybody along. I had to carry my VA along. I had to pay for a training, request for her to obviously improve herself, learn more, and also to be different as well. So i.e., I'd give a study time like, okay, this 2 days is going to be your study time. Go learn this and come back to me and learn. So she was creating listings. I'd oversee it. I'll have a look at it and then I'll approve it. But it was a two-way relationship whereby I'm one thing that you don't want to outsource is finding your product, because that is the power you have over your business. If you allow anyone to find your product for yourself, then you're setting yourself for a failure, because once that person is not there, I don't know how you'll be able to move the business further. But once you have the power to find the product and then you can outsource the listing, even if you lost that VA or lost anybody else that's working with you, you can find another VA that will do the listing for you. But the power of finding the product, I didn't understand that aspect, but it's something that I later find out that is very valuable. So I find my product. I've got a list of products I have in mind. I think about what next I'm creating. Then I discuss with my VA. Then we look at the pros and cons of it. Then we create it. But do not stop. Don't create one product and then sit on that product. Make sure that you're creating a better version of it. Even if it's not a better version, like a variation. I call it variation. So I create variation of each item I've done. So for example, we have this orange item here. Then I realize that this is selling properly. Then I can create like a strawberry version of it, or mandarin version of it, or mango version of it. And then give people that option to buy more. And you realize that we always use the word the pie. And I shared this with Aiden the other day, the pie. So if I see that the pie is selling, I'll just say I want a bit of the pie. Some people want the full pie. I just want a bit of the pie. And then if I could have a bit of that pie, I look at the compounding interest of it. So if I get 1,000, that's 10 grand profit a month.
Yeah.
Think about that, what you can do with that. And if you have 20 of those, that's 20 grand profit a month. So yeah, if you think about it not being like, it won't be overwhelming because you've broken it down into bite size that you can work with. And I think that's really helped us, because when we started working together and breaking things down, there was a month, I've never done that before in my life. I did 50 grand in sales and my profit was 20 grand. That was very, very overwhelming. I was just like, wow. I literally sat down that day and I was like, did I do that this month? Yes, I did. The following month, I think we did 60 grand, but then the following month there was a dip, because then we realized the growth and we had to move from working from my garage and my kitchen into a warehouse.
Wow. And you're in the warehouse now, which is 4,000 square foot, is it?
No, 6,000 square foot.
Yes. We need to have a warehouse tour soon, but it's hard because anyone sees your products, so you can't do that. That's like covering them like a blanket before we do it. No, that's absolutely crazy. So you must have had a load of listings that don't work, unless I'm mistaken, because for me, I think I told someone the other day, 70 to 80% of the products that I launch work, 20% don't. Like I launched one yesterday and it hasn't got any sales and I've spent a fair bit on PPC. It's a bit gutting, but you just sort of move on. I don't worry about it too much. And I think the people that don't do too well are the ones that let that eat them up, and then they'd sort of dwell on that. I could dwell on that for a month saying, oh, does Amazon work? Because that one didn't work. But I'm already creating my next product, or next 2 or 3 products. Is that the same with you? Have you got listings that haven't worked and you just have to sort of move on? Like, what's the mindset behind that? Do you have to just be strict and say, look, if it doesn't work, we move on? Like just forget about it?
Like I said earlier on, with when I was having a chat. We talked about like listings are like our babies. You spend so much creating those babies. Sometimes you could go after that baby like it's like having 100 ships and 99 are doing very well. But when one goes missing or one goes AWOL, you spend the first maybe few days like crying over it. And then you realize that now we're going to let go. And then the next instruction will be create me another listing and we send it through to it. We have so many listings. I had a listing that's selling like 20, 30 units a day. And Amazon decided to put that listing that is like pulling a dog that's poorly down, technically. Like, why would you pull a dog that's not poorly down? That's just the right word for when you have to kill your listing. And why did they kill my listing? They gated it. It's my brand. And every time you speak to Amazon, it's like you're speaking to a brick wall. Like, it's my brand. It's my name. It's my brand. I created that listing. They don't want to listen. They're technically telling you, unfortunately, we're not accepting approval. Approval on what? It's my brand. And if you've gone back and forth over, and then when you're getting emails like, we would not be discussing this further with you, just realize that you've reached the end of the road. Next decision, create another listing. Obviously, the new listing won't pick up like the old one, but it's very depressing because we created the listing, had 5 sales straight away. I was like, yeah, we're back. But last week we only had 1 sales, but we need to obviously keep nurturing it for it to grow. And would have listings that didn't even do well at all from the beginning. And after a month or 2, we shut it down because it's a waste of time, waste of PPC, waste of effort. Once we sell it off, we shut it down. But one thing I would do is not send in by FBA, but leave it as MF. So if it sells the MF, great. If it doesn't sell, that's fine. Because when it sells, it creates that history and you might come back to it and then that season, that listing. So for example, let's talk about maybe, I'm just trying to think about something that, okay, let's think about gardening product now. You've created this gardening product. It's not selling during the season that it should sell. Leave it on as MF. Over winter, we had like 2-3 sales of this gardening product that we created. And we were even shocked to get it, but because I had few of them in my garage, I was able to post it to the customer. But now I've had a history of it being alive, that the circle of it being alive for a whole year. So what I would find is when it's summertime, maybe around March, April, May, we can revive it by hoping that it will sell, reducing the price, and hoping that we'll get a bit of traction. Why? Amazon will trust us because we've been alive for over a year, and sales might start rolling in. Because I realized that some listings that has gained momentum for like 3-4 years, when it becomes the season they should start selling, they would gain ranking quicker than my listing that I've just created. That's one nugget that I need you guys to know. They will gain traction quicker than listing that's just been created.
Right.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. But I mean, I give up on mine pretty quickly, to be honest, if they're not.
But do you shut it down finally? Like, do you shut it down finally?
If I've spent £30-40 on PPC and it hasn't sold, like, you know, even if it's a new listing, I sort of think it's just a failure and I just sort of move on mentally in my head. Sometimes it will pick up. Like, it might just be title adjustment, like, you know, it needs some reviews or price, or it's in the wrong category, something, you know, it might be something small, but I just haven't got the patience or the time just to, if it was that great, it would sell. That's what I think, you know, if it was that great, it will sell after 30-40 quid's worth of PPC minimum. All of my good ones have, you know, anything that's selling a good amount has sold in the first 40. If I have to really push it, I just think, maybe that's something I need to deal with myself, but I just lose interest, you know. I just think, it's not gonna work, and I just move on.
I just leave them as a prodigal, like the prodigal child. I just leave it there. When you're ready, you start picking up. And I've noticed that they do pick up later on, but I would not pump any more money into it. Turn PPC off. We just leave it just to be there.
Right. Yeah. But I'm still experiencing that myself, to be honest. Yeah. But we'll see. Yeah. So give me your, like, you must have learned some, like, obviously, like, as I say, you must have had some really hard times. Like that growth, the growth that you've had, as I say, you've just gone like that rather than most people like that. You must have had some really challenging times. And have you had times where you felt like giving up?
Oh yeah, technically every day. But when I think about all my whys, what do you want? You want to say something?
Well, no, I think because, you know, sometimes it can be sort of like, glamorized, like selling on Amazon's really easy and everyone's just free and you can do what you want, you know. But you actually said that you wanted to get out of your desk, looking at the desk all day from your job, you
Yeah,
know, solicitor. But now you're sitting at another desk, but it's your own desk. So,
my own.
but it's your own desk.
Um,
So, what have you felt like giving up then?
always remember something that when you're working for yourself, you're technically working 24/7.
Mm.
So when you mentioned about, you said something about the growth, the way we create listing, that it looks like I must have been working back to back, back to back. So I'd get home, get the kids ready, because one of my wives are because of my children. I've got a boy and a lovely girl. Once they've gone to bed, I'd have to obviously think about what we're doing the following day, or maybe I'm too tired, I'll quickly have a quick nap, and I'd wake up by 2 a.m. To ensure that I catch up with my VAs. And by the time I catch up with my VAs and reply to emails, respond, it's already 5 a.m. And trust me, you can't even get any sleep at that time. Maybe I doze off for like 30 minutes, and then 6 a.m. my kids are up saying, we want breakfast. And I'm thinking, oh God, is it 6 a.m.? And that's been my life. And the truth is, when you're bringing up a new business, I cannot sit down here and lie to you that, oh, I only work 3 hours a day. Then I'm lying to you. Aiden, you know this. There's been sleepless nights on Amazon whereby your product has been literally held by hazmat, or maybe like a product is on stranded inventory and you're
Just
trying to
bad
figure
sales.
out why.
Yeah.
Literally bad sales day. I said this the other day, like Amazon is like that boyfriend I've never seen before that ruins my day when I have a bad sale, or that makes me sleep. Literally, I open my eyes and scroll and I'm like, oh, we're already on 3 grand sales today. And then I can sleep better. But the days I realized that we're just doing like 100 grand a day, £100 a day, I'm like, oh God, what a bad day. Oh God, take me to bed now. Literally, Amazon ruins my day when I have a bad sale, or make me happy when I've got a good sale. It obviously is not the good way to life, but that means like we care about our business. So this business has to be something that you care about to enjoy it. And each day it's never the same. Like I woke up at 5 a.m. today and I've been on the phone back to back with Amazon from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. And that is what Amazon is about. Each day would never be the same. And there'll be days that things are just moving so smoothly. And you're thinking, oh, never a bad day with Amazon. Then boom, you get an email from a customer that ruins everything for you. So each day would never be the same. Each day would never, ever go the same way. So you've got to prepare yourself and prepare your mind. Remember, when you're doing 9 to 5, if you sign out of work or you clock out of work, everything, I remember then, all my case notes, all my emails, especially when I'm going on holiday, I'm just waiting for that 5 p.m. I don't care about the next client to send me email about the PI, obviously personal injury. Before I gave up work, I was working in the personal injury department, whereby we will be the one to assess your case if you are eligible for payment out for your personal injury. And people handing me for their money and things. Once I sign out of work, I don't care if you want that money to go on holiday or if you want that money to buy yourself medication. Once I sign out, that is me done till I get back. Even if they allocate it to someone else, I don't give a toss. That's me done. So, but you can't do that here because it's your business, it's your work. I pull up a motorway to respond to Amazon call, because if I don't respond to that call, my account can be blocked. And if my account get blocked, that's my literally bread and butter gone. So yeah, so we've got to obviously think about, always have the exit strategy in plan. So I'm already thinking about what my exit strategy would be. It might not be something very obvious at first, but as you go deeper into Amazon, you need to think about what your exit strategy would be or will be. You need to think about your backup plans. You need to think about what you're going to do next, and do not stay on one lane with Amazon. Amazon is a fast moving lane. So you have to think about how to move from one lane to the other. And we're already thinking about that, Aiden. And yeah, so it's all about diversifying in Amazon.
Okay, awesome. That was my next steps. I was going to say, so what's your plans for the next couple of years? Well, have you got goals for the next sort of 2 to 5 years of where you want to be, where you want to take the business? Go on.
Number one, creating our own. We've already started creating our brand, so put that brand out there, make it a very solid brand. And I'm already
doing, yeah.
Yes, the brand I'm already doing.
Yeah.
I think I'm yet to obviously catch up on with you on that one, actually. Create my own brand and make that brand a very strong one, a really strong one. When I look at my brand, I'm thinking, am I even sure about this brand? It's something that now looking at what I need to offer to the customer, I want to make it so strong that we can take it out of Amazon, maybe into our own platform, and have like 2-3 other platforms that we're selling on, so that if anything happens, because nobody knows what Amazon will do to you tomorrow. And I'm not saying this to scare you, and neither will myself and Aiden will sit down here and sell a glamorous life. We are here to obviously say it as it is and be honest about it. Amazon they're moving mad left and right, but they're fun to work with as well. So you've got to always make sure that you protect yourself, because other people's livelihood, especially when you have staff working, I've got 3 staff at the moment working for me. The livelihood depends on me, and I'd never ever want to deprive them of that, just to ensure that they've got family to feed as well, and as same as mine as well. So yeah, so always have a backup plan, and my plan is to build up my brand, then move onto my brand and give my brand a more attention than what I'm doing right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, good point there, because I think I spoke to a big seller a little while ago actually, and he said like a lot of people sort of think that Amazon's unsustainable sometimes because they can shut you down whenever they want. But his excuse for that, he says, you know, if you just focus on making as much money as possible on Amazon, then it doesn't matter if they close you down for a couple of months. You can pay for solicitors to get it back. You've got enough money to survive for that time. And I sort of agree what he's saying, you know, because you need to be all in. But it's also good to have your backups. Like, for sure, we think the same now. I want the Amazon, the Etsy, the website and things like that going well, Shopify. But also thinking even further forwards. I mean, I've got to call my mortgage broker in a minute, actually. And I'm going to be investing a lot of the profits into property and things like that as well. And I know you're sort of similar there. You want to be doing that, just because I think if you just bulletproof yourself from all these different angles, then you can enjoy it. And it doesn't matter if Amazon suspends you for a couple of months, although it's annoying. You've got the backup there of your other income streams as well. But whilst not taking off the focus of, you know, making sure you're the best. So it is tricky to juggle the, you know, the risk of selling on Amazon and then multiple streams of income, just in case Amazon do mess you over. The opportunity is so great, but Amazon can be really, really awkward. So yeah, I think you think similar in that, you know, in that sense.
Yeah. Multiple streams of income. Like I said, property is one big thing that I would never, as much as I would never trade for anything. I share this with Aiden, what we're making per week on property. And we still got our loyal clients that are still ringing us and asking us if we've got any property available. And I'm going to be reviving my property aspects in the next few weeks to come. I'm meeting up with my property mentor tomorrow and seeing how I can obviously maybe pick up 1 or 2 more properties this week, because most of our properties the ones that we've got mortgage on, they had to go on long-term let, whereby families are in there. It would be unfair because things are back to normal now to kick them out because of the money I want to make. I'm very emotional like that. So I try to think about, if I had my children settled in one house, would I want my landlord to give me a notice to say, I need you out in the next 4 weeks? No. So instead, I will pick up new property and then go for the high-end kind of model this time around, whereby I can get more money in, more occupancy in terms of service accommodation, and then get more revenue in. So why not?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Awesome. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so let's just do a couple more final questions. So, not really questions. There's a lot of people that are selling on Amazon, but there's a lot of people that are selling more than others. There's some people that have just started out and some people that have been going a while, but they're struggling. There's loads of different models and things like that. But what would your sort of general advice be? Say if you could look back, I don't know, I asked this with Seth in the last interview, it confused him, so I won't ask it the way I asked him.
Okay.
What would be the advice that you would give yourself, you know, like if you could look back? So basically the advice that you would give to others, you know, like maybe top 3 tips or something like that you've learned.
Number 1, Amazon is a very lonely journey. And I'm blessed to actually make friends with Aiden. And I'm saying this right now. I've got mentors that I'm paying for on Amazon right now that I paid to actually learn, but it ended up turning out to be a therapy session whereby I call this person, one of my mentors, I don't want to mention names now, and so that you as well don't go steal him off. And I'm talking to him, and we end up talking about Amazon in general and the mixed emotions going on. I get off that call and I feel so good because you realize you have no one to discuss Amazon with. And I'd say find yourself a genuine friend in Amazon that you guys are doing the same. And I found people that have made me friends in Amazon, but they only call me because they want to learn something from me. Don't make it that way. Make it something that both of you are learning from each other. When you call me and you want to, for example, so I'm saying this in general now, when you call to find out, maybe I rang you, Aiden, I don't want to know, I don't want to ask you for help. I want to find out, how are you, Aiden? How are you? How are you getting on? So nobody asked me, Anu, how are you getting on? The next thing is like, oh, I've got this issue, I've got that issue, I've got that issue. And I'm thinking, right. So I'll spend the last 20 minutes sorting your problem out. So make friends that you guys are beneficial to each other so that I would look forward to that next phone call with you. Learn to pay mentor as well, because people, they're there to pass down some knowledges to you. And it's what you know, it's your network is your net worth. So if you've got higher, let's say, I'm trying to put the right English together. If you've got a higher IQ in Amazon, or you have a higher knowledge or experience in Amazon than myself, and I'm paying you to mentor me, know that if I ever find myself in any deep end, you're there to help me as well, right? However, if you don't pay for my service, it will be hard for you to ring me when you're in trouble and say, Aiden, I've got a problem. Because at that point, why should I help you? But even when you pay for services for like mentorship, it's more or less, and I'm not saying go start dumping money because you don't have it. You haven't got it. It's more or less like make the right friends in Amazon in your study group. When I put study group, I mean like your community. Make the right friends that you guys are adding value to each other. And I think that's one of the things that I didn't do in the first half of the first year of my Amazon, because everybody was really busy heads on. But this year, I think one of the biggest thing I've done is I've networked myself much more. I've found people to speak to, and we've both bounced off idea from each other. We've added value to each other. And that would actually aid your growth, because Aiden might know something. I might know something like, you know what, let's do it this way. I think it'll be much better. And it'll be like, oh, no. I know someone that can do it better, and I can introduce you to that person. But once you're in a lonely journey that you have nobody to help you, it's easy to give up. I can ring Aiden and say, Aiden, I am so stressed out. But what would you tell me? I know this is not the time to give up. This is a test of time, because Amazon is frustrating everybody so that they can all bounce off. The new sellers will bounce off, then they leave the platform for the stronger people, because Amazon was so easy to join during COVID. Now, prices are going out of the roof. Amazon is increasing fees. People are going to literally run off. I felt that way, but one of my mentors said to me, no, it's not time for you to exit, because yes, you feel so frustrated, but this is a time and it's a test of time. So you're going to fight back. Be persistent with what you're asking Amazon to do. And persistency do make way for you. So that's like the advice I'll give to my old self. I wish I'd made friends earlier than what I'm making now. That would have helped me a lot.
Well, that's amazing. I've never heard anyone say that, but it's so true. I mean, yeah, it's so true. Yeah, not enough people do that. You know, most of us, and it's sort of human nature. You can't help it sometimes, but most of us are trying to get something out of the people that we don't know that well. But then you jeopardise the possibility of a friendship there, don't you? A friendship of, you know, that could bring you a lot more in the future. So you're right. Anu, thanks so much for coming on the call. Anyway, it's been awesome. I'm sure everyone's going to absolutely love it and enjoy listening to it.
Everyone would enjoy it. And please like and subscribe to Aiden's channel. He has great content coming up, and you don't want to miss that content. Do you know, he didn't tell me to do this, but I thought I should just drop that in.
I'll give you a
Have a
five
lovely week, everyone.
I didn't actually tell her to say that, but fantastic. That's a good one to end on.
I know.
Thanks so much, Anu. Everyone, we will see you in next week's video. Cheers.
Okay, bye.
Bye.